You're listening to The Whole Truth, a Resources Rising Stars podcast.
Hello and welcome back to The Whole Truth podcast. I'm Paul Armstrong. I've been having a chat with Andrew Muir. He's the Managing Director of Sipa Resources. You know, they say there's only a few things people in this game have got to do. They've got to find projects that are worth pursuing. They've got to raise money and they've got to market. Andrew's done all those things, and after working hard behind the scenes for 18 months, Sipa's put their foot on some great projects right in the heart of the South Australian goldfields. They say these projects have got several reasons why they could host big deposits. One of them is, of course, it's down the road from a 1.6 million ounce deposit already. Nothing like a nearby gold mine as a place to find gold. Most of all, the company's just started drilling. As we recorded this episode, the rig is turning. That means there's a whole pathway of news flow coming. The company hopes to generate strong results from that and keep moving from one drilling area to the next, and that's what investors ask for. Give me plenty of news flow, and that's what Andrew's doing. Andrew takes us through the projects, why they like them, why they consider them so prospective, and why shareholders won't die wondering. Andrew, you've been working very hard behind the scenes here now for many months, probably 18 months. You've come up with these projects in South Australia. You've told the world about that. And now the day of reckoning has arrived and the drill rig's turning.
Yeah, look, absolutely. We've spent a lot of time and effort on this ground. We announced a transaction for this South Australian ground in December last year, finalised the transaction in February. So I was basically spent from them up until a couple of weeks ago diving into a lot of historical detail. There's a lot of historical work that we've been able to put together, use that, come up with some pretty good targets, and we've finally got the rig on the ground, so it's drilling as we speak.
Right, so tell us, let's keep this pretty simple from the outset so people can follow us. What are the projects that you are drilling? I know there's a lot of names here, but let's keep it at the high level.
Yep.
You've got three main projects in South Australia, gold prospects with some historic drilling that looks very promising, and but nothing for best part of 20-odd years. Yeah,
no, even longer actually, almost 30 years. So the transaction in February, three projects in South Australia and one in WA. So we've got Tunkilia North and Knuckler Hill, north and south of Barton's Tunkilia deposit, 1.6 million ounces, so very good pedigree. And the Sky project as well, which is not far from Challenger, which is not quite as advanced. The focus is very much on Tunkilia North and Knuckler Hill. And the fourth project is about 40 k's from Kalgoorlie. That's Crown. So that's on the eastern side of Kalgoorlie. So the key thing for us when we're looking at these projects, all close to infrastructure or existing deposits, good road transport networks, so really good ability to monetize these things.
So where is the drill rig starting?
So it's at Knuckler Hill now. It's on ground as we speak. So we've got two historic prospects, Bimba and Sheoak, that were drilled initially in the mid to late 1990s by Equinox, and they hit some quite reasonable grades and widths and basically didn't really follow them up. It hasn't been drilled in about 30 years. So fantastic opportunity. It's in the same shear zone that the Tunkilia deposit is. The rocks are the same, but it's had no work for almost 30 years.
Why has it had no work for 30 years? People would say, if it was so good, why didn't the previous owners chase it up?
Look, it's a really good question. South Australia sort of had its day in the sun when they went out in the mid-90s and did a lot of calcrete sampling, tested for low-level gold, did that across the entire countryside, came up with some really good anomalies, found Tunkilia and also found Challenger. Went hard for sort of 1, 2, maybe 3 years. Then it just lost its mojo. I think the other areas became more sexy. Commodity price came off. Also, some of our projects were ex-MIM and they were more focused on base metals. So didn't quite get the results they were looking for. But as I said, they were looking for base metals. So they moved on. So it's just laid there for a long period of time, just waiting for someone to come in and have a crack, and that's us.
So what's the drilling program comprised, Andrew? How many metres, holes, etc.?
So this program that we're doing right now, ballpark about 1,800 metres, testing Sheoak and Bimba, roughly 50-50 in terms of meterage-wise, sort of 12 to 14 holes following up historic mineralisation, sort of down dip and a long strike. Once this finishes in roughly sort of 4 to 6 weeks' time, we'll come in with an air core program after that and that'll test Tunkilia North as well as Nucala Hill in more sort of extensional and explorational style targets rather than sort of infill and follow up.
So you know that there's gold there.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know there's obviously a mineralised system there.
Yeah. Yep.
What is a question of continuity, of width, grades?
Well, it's more and I'll keep referencing the Tunkilia deposit because without being silly, the best indicator for gold is gold, and we've got a 1.6 million ounce deposit just up the road from us in the same shear zone and the same rocks. So we're about 40 k's to the south of that. So we just need to get in there and start putting holes into it.
Okay. So what's the news flow look like?
So obviously drilling now. So that'll finish probably early next week, ballpark. Then we'll look at doing air core on the program I mentioned just before at Nucala Hill and Tunkilia. And then roughly a month after that, we'll be drilling at Crown.
Now let's talk about Crown. You've come over we're switching to the other side of the rabbit-proof fence here.
Yep.
The Crown project near Kalgoorlie came with the South Australian projects.
Yeah, that's right. So it was all part of the one package, and we really, really like Crown. It's located near the Majestic Mining Centre run by Black Cat. It's only 40 k's up the road from the Lakewood processing plant, which
so you got a great address.
Yeah, look, fantastic. Roads cut across it. Geology is really good. So one of the things we really liked about it, and I touched on before, was the ability to monetize this. So we don't need to find a multi-million ounce deposit at Crown. As long as we find something with sort of reasonable grade, whether we find something and toll treat it or, do an ore sale agreement, or look, if there's enough gold there, maybe there's an M&A opportunity. So we don't need to find a huge deposit to be able to create a lot of value pretty quickly.
Right. And what's your timing on Crown?
So we need to get on site to do heritage. So hoping to have that done by the end of July. And look, the report will take 3 to 4 weeks to come through, and then we'll look to roll a drill rig in pretty much straight away after that.
I mean, on the corporate front, the company's got a market cap of what, $7 million?
Yeah, well, EV of sub 5 at the moment. So
you can't find more leverage for an exploration program than that. I mean, there's shells that are worth sort of circa that amount of money. Yeah, look, it's huge upside, I suppose. Look, everyone says they're leveraged to exploration, but the risk reward for us is huge to the upside. So yeah. And there's a common phrase, leverage exploration, but at $7 million market cap, gold exploration where there's gold and down the road from a 1.6 million ounce deposit, as you keep saying. You've also got it in Australia. You're not talking about deepest, darkest Africa here. And so it wouldn't really take much to give this thing a serious kick. Yeah,
look, 100%. When we were looking at a range of different assets, we were very focused on what the end game could be, as in we needed something that we could monetize. So again, as I said, tier 1 jurisdiction, definitely gold focused, something that we could work all year round, and also had good infrastructure and ideally next to or near existing deposits or processing plants, and these projects tick all of those boxes.
Let's just explore that phrase you use there, something you can monetize, because that's important. I mean, I think some companies could be rightly accused of just going on a magical mystery tour down the geological and scientific route. But in fact, in this case, you're saying something you can monetize. You spoke about the need to have infrastructure, access, etc. when you're looking at a suitable project acquisition. The one of the things that was sort of reach out to people is the makeup of the board. You've got quite a corporate focus there. I mean, the guys on the board would know all about monetizing things. They're not there for a scientific mystery.
Look, the board's fantastic. When I joined, that was one of the real highlights for me almost 2 years ago, was the breadth and depth of experience. Plenty of grey hair, but also the variety, I suppose, of expertise of each of the different members. Craig McGowan is the chairman, used to run DJ Carmichael's in Perth.
A veteran stockbroker, as they say.
but a genuinely nice guy and been around for a long time and knows how the corporate world works. So a fantastic and very active and engaged chairman. And actually that's valid for all the board members. All are there's no people sort of sitting back and taking a clip.
And you got John Forward on the board.
Yep. So John obviously is with Loyal Funds. Obviously knows the market very, very well. and has great sort of insights to what's happening in.
He's well regarded fund manager and got quite a track record.
Yeah, look, well, I've done fantastic, and we're very lucky to have him on the board. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and again, he's not there because he wants a geology lesson. He's there because he wants to make money.
No, well, that's right. Yeah, well, he's got an unusual skill set. He's obviously tapped into the markets, but he's a geologist and sort of legal background as well.
No, he does have a legal background. We won't hold that against him, but he's successful nonetheless. And of course, the vendor.
Yep.
Your biggest shareholder, Stephen.
Yep. So I actually, when I was working at Hartley's, in about 2005, 2006, I used to cover a company called Southern Gold, which Stephen ran, and they found the Cannon deposit near Kalgoorlie, and so I was covering that. So I've had a relationship with Stephen for however long that is.
He's notched up a few successes in his time.
Yeah, very much so. So very good geo, but very good sort of identifying opportunities corporately. So obviously did fantastically well with Core. And he's a South Australian native, so lives in Adelaide. So these projects are in his backyard, and that's been fantastic to sort of tap into that.
What stakes he got in the company as a result of the transaction?
So he's now the biggest shareholder. He's got just over 12%.
Right.
So and that was the other attraction, I guess, about this deal, I suppose, that we did, is that most of the things that we looked at, it was just a pure transaction, would go one way, the other, the vendor would go the other, whereas Stephen's come on the board, he participated in the raise and is now the biggest shareholder. So everyone is aligned with making this a success.
Now, it would be remiss of me not to ask you about your background too, because you've done a bit of rock kicking in your time as well.
Yeah, so spent a lot of time in not so sexy parts of WA, geo for 12 or 13 years, primarily in gold, exploration and mining, open pit, underground. Spent time in Kalgoorlie, Wiluna, Leinster, Leonora, Southern Cross. And then I jumped ship in about 2005. Was an analyst at Hartley's for about 5.5 years. Then went to Sydney for JP Morgan for a couple of years. And before I sort of jumped back to the other side, I was at Argonaut in corporate finance for about 18 months before I sort of came back to this.
So there's a common theme here. There's a blend of geology and commercial corporate experience.
Yeah, that's right. So that's, I guess, one of the focuses of mine of putting the technical and the financial / corporate together. And that's one of the things that, ultimately we're here to make money for ultimately shareholders. So the best way to do that is have projects that you can monetize, whether that's M&A or get it into production. And we don't need to find something that's really, really big and remote and build it ourselves. We've focused on finding things that, as I said before, near infrastructure, near existing deposits. So the hurdle rate is nowhere near as big, but you can add a lot of value very quickly.
Great. Well, Andrew, it certainly sounds like you've laid the foundations here to give shareholders every opportunity to make money. Mm-hmm. And as we said, if you get a couple of decent sniffs here, it's going to be game on. So
absolutely. And
people aren't going to die wondering. You're drilling now, news flow to come, and you're going to keep moving the rig on. So everything people want, they say there's only a few jobs people in your position who've got to do in this game. You've got to drill holes, you've got to raise money, and you've got to market. And you've done all those things. You've got the projects, you're into it.
Yep.
You got the money to drill it, and you're doing that, and you're going to return news flow.
Yeah, look, we're out there having a crack.
And beyond that, it comes down to what the gods put on the ground.
Well, exactly right. And look, we know there's gold there, so we're just going to go find more of it.
Great. Well, thanks very much for your time.
All right, thank you.
You've been listening to The Whole Truth, a Resources Rising Stars podcast, produced by Resource Media, hosted by Paul Armstrong for Reed Corporate. Please note that Reed Corporate does not provide investment advice, and investors should seek personalised advice before making any investment decisions.